The history of Soviet landmines from World War II to the modern era. Introduction. Throughout modern military history, landmines have played a crucial role in shaping battlefield tactics. They are inexpensive, relatively easy to deploy, and capable of inflicting severe damage against armored vehicles and infantry. Among the world's most prolific producers of mines, the Soviet Union, and later the Russian Federation, developed an extensive arsenal that has influenced conflicts from World War II to the present day. Soviet mines became notorious not only for their effectiveness, but also for their widespread proliferation, as they were exported or copied by dozens of countries across Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. This essay traces the history of Soviet landmines, examining their origins in World War II, their evolution during the Cold War, their employment in Afghanistan and Chechnya, and their transformation into modern, smart munitions in today's Russian arsenal. 1. The birth of Soviet mines in World War II. Before World War II, the Soviet Union had only limited experience with landmines. However, the German invasion in 1941, Operation Barbarossa, quickly forced Soviet engineers to innovate. Facing the might of the Wehrmacht, the Red Army sought ways to slow enemy tank columns and infantry advances. Mines provided an ideal solution. They were cost-effective and could be produced in large numbers. The TM-35 and TM-41. These were early Soviet anti-tank mines. The TM-35 was a simple, rectangular box mine filled with TNT. Its mechanical pressure fuse required a tank's weight to detonate. By 1941, the TM-41, a circular metal-cased mine, improved reliability and blast effect. The PMD-6 shoe mine, a wooden anti-personnel mine resembling a small box, became one of the most notorious Soviet devices of the war. Cheap to produce and difficult to detect with metal detectors, it spread across Eastern Europe. During the Battle of Kursk in 1943, considered the largest tank battle in history, Soviet forces laid nearly 500,000 mines along defensive lines. German armor suffered heavy losses not only from Soviet anti-tank guns, but also from minefields that slowed their advance and channeled them into kill zones. By the end of the war, the Soviets recognized landmines as a decisive tool for defensive warfare, capable of offsetting technological disadvantages. This philosophy would continue to guide Soviet mine design for decades. 2. Cold War expansion, from simplicity to standardization. After 1945, the Soviet Union emerged as a superpower with vast military-industrial capacity. Mines became standard equipment in every Soviet and Warsaw Pact unit. Several iconic models appeared during this era. TM-46, 1946. Perhaps the most famous Soviet mine, this circular, steel-cased anti-tank mine was mass-produced and widely exported. Rugged, simple, and effective, the TM-46 became the prototype for numerous copies in China, North Korea, and the Middle East. TM-57, an upgrade over the TM-46 with better resistance to environmental damage and improved fusing systems. TM-62 series, 1962 onward, a versatile family of mines with interchangeable fuses. They could be pressure detonated or triggered by magnetic influence, making them harder to counter. For anti-personnel warfare, the Soviets developed the PMN mine, introduced in the 1950s. The small black bakelite-cased mine earned the nickname Black Widow, due to its lethality. Its simple pressure fuse meant any unsuspecting footstep could trigger devastating injuries. POMZ stake mines, fragmentation mines mounted on stakes designed to wound infantry with shrapnel. MON-50 directional mines, inspired by the American M118 Claymore, the MON-50 projected steel balls in a 60-degree arc, devastating enemy troops. The Soviet doctrine emphasized using mines not merely as passive defenses, but as tools for area denial. Mines forced enemy troops into predictable paths, disrupted supply lines, and bought time for Soviet counterattacks. 3. Global proliferation and proxy wars. One defining characteristic of Soviet mines was their global reach. During the Cold War, Moscow exported mines to dozens of allied states and revolutionary movements. From Vietnam to Angola, from the Middle East to Latin America, Soviet mines shaped conflicts far from Eastern Europe. The Vietnam War. Soviet PMN and TM-46 mines supplied to North Vietnam inflicted heavy casualties on U.S. and South Vietnamese forces. Middle East. In wars between Israel and Arab states, 1956, 1967, 1973, Soviet-made mines were widely used by Egypt and Syria. Africa. In Angola and Mozambique, Soviet-supplied mines devastated rural populations, leaving long-term humanitarian crises that persist to this day. The indiscriminate use of these mines contributed to the Soviet reputation as the primary source of global mine proliferation. Unlike NATO, which increasingly experimented with more controlled or self-destructing mines, Soviet doctrine placed less emphasis on humanitarian concerns and more on raw battlefield effectiveness. 4. The Afghan War, 1979 to 1989. A testing ground. The Soviet invasion of Afghanistan marked a turning point in mine warfare. Facing guerrilla fighters and rugged terrain, Soviet forces relied heavily on mines for both offense and defense. Widespread deployment. The Soviets littered Afghan roads, valleys, and villages with anti-tank and anti-personnel mines. They attempted to restrict mujahideen mobility, protect convoys, and defend outposts. The butterfly mines, PFM-1 mines, small plastic airdropped mines shaped like toy butterflies, became infamous during the war. Easily mistaken by children for play toys, they caused thousands of civilian casualties. The PFM-1 became one of the most controversial weapons in Soviet history. Impact on civilians. Millions of mines remained in Afghanistan after Soviet withdrawal in 1989, leading to decades of injury, death, and economic disruption. International outrage against Soviet mine use helped inspire the later Ottawa Treaty, 1997, banning anti-personnel mines, though Russia never signed it. For Soviet engineers, Afghanistan was both a proving ground and a lesson in the limitations of mine warfare. While mines inflicted casualties on guerrillas, they failed to break resistance, and the humanitarian fallout damaged Soviet international prestige. 5. Post-Soviet conflicts, Chechnya and beyond. The collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991 did not end Russian reliance on mines. In the 1990s and early 2000s, mines once again played a central role in conflicts in the Caucasus. Chechen Wars, 1994 to 1996, 1999 to 2009. Both Russian forces and Chechen separatists used mines extensively. Russian engineers deployed TM-62 anti-tank mines on roads to prevent ambushes, while rebels relied on improvised explosive devices, IEDs, alongside Soviet-stock mines. Urban warfare. Mines proved devastating in Grozny, where both sides planted booby traps in buildings, staircases, and streets. The Chechen experience highlighted how mines could be turned against their original owners. Weapons once supplied by the Soviet state ended up in the hands of rebels, insurgents, and criminals. 6. Modern Russian mine development. In the 21st century, Russia has continued to invest in advanced mine technology despite international efforts to restrict their use. Unlike the old Soviet approach of mass production, modern Russian mines focus on precision, intelligence, and survivability. TM-83, a high-explosive, shaped charge mine designed to destroy modern tanks with reactive armor. PTK-M1, R, 2010s. Considered one of the most advanced mines in the world, the PTK-M1R is a smart top attack mine. Equipped with seismic and acoustic sensors, it detects approaching vehicles, launches a submunition into the air, and attacks from above, the weakest point of modern armor. KPTM-3, scatterable mines. Deployed by specialized vehicles, they can be remotely controlled and timed to self-destruct, addressing some humanitarian concerns. Russia's doctrine still views mines as essential for area denial, particularly in conflicts with technologically superior adversaries like NATO. However, modern designs reflect a shift toward controlled lethality, integrating electronics and countermeasure technology. 7. Humanitarian consequences and legacy. Soviet and Russian mines have left one of the largest global legacies of unexploded ordnance. From Cambodia to Afghanistan, Angola to Ukraine, millions of civilians live amid minefields. Even decades after conflicts ended, these weapons continued to kill and maim farmers, herders, and children. The Ottawa Treaty, 1997, signed by over 160 countries, banned anti-personnel mines. However, Russia, along with the United States and China, refused to join, citing security needs. Russia